The United States, a melting pot. Immigrants come from near and far seeking the American dream, a dream that promises life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. With the United States admitting 1 million migrants each year, more than any other nation in the world, policy must be created in order to control the flow of these immigrants. Although the U.S. wishes to be as welcoming as possible, we cannot allow the entire world to enter our country, and that is why laws have been created to control the amount of people allowed in each year. Looking at the big picture, only allowing a certain number in each year seems like the right way to do it. However, when you dig deeper and look at each individual and learn their story as to why they wish to enter America, the admittance process becomes much more difficult. In spite of each heart-rending story, the line must be drawn as to who can enter our country and who cannot. When this line is drawn, those who still wish to enter the United States take two different paths. One path that most people choose is to sneak into the country illegally and hope that they don't get caught. Most people who did not get chosen to enter the U.S., or those who just don't want to have to deal with the complex system, choose this path, and that is why we have 11 million undocumented illegal immigrants living in the United States as we speak. The other path is to enter the country legally by waiting their turn in a long line of hopeful and prospective U.S. citizens until they are chosen to come. These two paths that immigrants choose to take to come to our country have caused the American immigration system to become so complex and arbitrary that even those who try to enter the country legally are unsuccessful. In this next interview, we will hear from a man who is doing everything right in trying to stay in the U.S. legally, but ended up being a victim to the convoluted American immigration system. All right, so just to set the scene, I'd like to ask you a few simple questions. So your name is Yannis Krokolis, right?
That's correct.
How old are you?
I'm 39 years young.
Okay. Where do you live currently?
Yarmouth?
Do you have a family?
Yes, I do. 10-month-old son and fiance.
What do you do for a living?
Fix European cars.
What do you like to do for fun when you're not fixing cars?
Racing, building fast cars, spending time with my son.
So just by your name and the sound of your voice, I can tell that you aren't from around here. Where are you originally from?
From Latvia.
Where is that located?
It's in Europe, next to Lithuania, Estonia, Baltic Sea. It's kind of like almost like north, I think, of Europe. Yeah.
And so it's near Russia, right?
Yep.
And so it was communist once, and
Yep.
you grew up with it being communist?
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that.
What was it like living in a communist country?
I don't really remember much, but whatever I remember wasn't nice.
Like, can you give me some examples?
Yeah, I can. Like about Christmas. The Russians have Christmas at a different time of the year, not as Christians, and we were not allowed to celebrate Christmas. If you got caught, your parents got in a lot of trouble by KGB and stuff. And that said, we celebrate Christmas with closed windows, closed with blankets. We had a tree and presents, and then you chop up your tree. Next day, everything is gone like never happened before.
Wow. And then you also said when Khrushchev died, they made you cry in school.
Yeah, all of us. So needed to line up and synchronizely cry.
And then if you didn't, they'd pinch you to make you cry.
Yeah.
So did you live on a farm?
Up to 10 years, yes.
What did you do with your livestock? Did you use it as like food for yourself?
Yes, usually. Yeah, basically whatever you raised, you ate. Certainly whatever you grew, you ate. There was no supermarkets. Stores only sold bread and liquor, but everything was like kind of on a coupons. Basically, you only had a certain amount of stuff you can actually purchase.
Okay.
It wasn't like you can just go there and buy whatever you want.
Oh, okay.
And everybody had their own little farm with a little garden. And That's how you survive.
So what made you decide to come to the United States?
One of my friends, actually, she came here for summer as a student, and when she came back, she convinced me I need to come here and try it too.
Okay. So after your friend had told you how great America was, what was your next decision in coming here?
I came for 3 months as a student because I was in college in Latvia. And I worked for Stop and Shop for 3 months. I was making, I don't know, $300 a week, what was pretty much what average person at that time was making in Latvia in a month.
Wow.
That said, yeah, I worked all summer, went back home, and then I came back next summer, and then I didn't come for a year. I don't even know why, but the last time when I came to the United States, I came as for the Stop and Shop management program. They usually hired me as a manager at Dennis Stop and Shop. I was assistant deli manager.
So did they give you did they give you the visa through their program to come?
The visa was called J1, but it's student visa. You need to be in a college. You need to be a student, and I think any country in Europe actually has those visas available for students who want to come here to the United States just for 3-4 months and work here, kind of like learn ins and outs about this country.
And so then when did you decide that you wanted to permanently stay here?
That happened when I was here for those 18 months when I worked as an assistant deli manager, because I guess at that point I realized how good this country is, how much more I can be in this country than home, because at that point in Latvia, no matter what you do, you were never having enough money. You just struggled non-stop. Yeah.
So then, did you go see an immigration lawyer about staying longer, or how did that whole process work?
I did go see immigration lawyer. I'm not gonna name her for some reasons, and I paid some money to extend my stay. Actually, before my status was running out, I went 10 months early, and she totally screwed up my case. Like, she filed totally wrong paperwork and just were trying to lie our way out of it, and end of the day, I lost my legal status here. I can say it that way.
So then, what happened? Did you get caught for losing your legal status?
I didn't. But I was trying to become legal in this country just for my own kind of God's sake, I guess. And to be able to travel freely. And the status was gone, basically. Let's say if I left the United States and I went back to Latvia, I would never be able to come back in. I'd actually be barred for 10 years coming back in this country. In the meantime, my mom, she became a United States citizen because she fell in love with an American person. And this different lawyer, I hired somebody else because the first one obviously did not work out. He promised me he can get my stay here legal through my mother, and that's how I got caught.
That's how you got caught.
Yeah.
So your mom just became a citizen because she married an American man.
Yeah.
And so then, did you guys go to court with her to try to extend your stay?
It was not a court. You basically just file all kinds of forms online, and by doing that, let's say if I never filed anything, I'd be able to live in this country probably forever illegally. But like I said, that were not my intentions. But as soon as you file any kind of paperwork with immigration, you basically exposing yourself to them. They knew everything about me, where I live, my fingerprints. You gotta give them those. My social number, every single aspect of my life, they knew better than I did, actually. End of the day.
So then what happened when they found out that your status had expired?
That is a long story, but I'll try to keep it short. I actually went to interview. The green card got approved at the interview first. But then immigration officer who approved my green card, he realized the second lawyer, which one I hired, and I spent quite a bit of money with him, he screwed up on some paperwork too. And because of his screw up, I got punished basically, because they don't care who screwed up, because I didn't fill any forms. Obviously I hired somebody who knows the law. And the green card basically got denied. First they gave it to me, and then they denied it due to the incorrect paperwork, whatever that guy filed.
Okay. So then you were no longer allowed to stay here, right?
I was 90 days.
90 days?
90 days. I needed to plead guilty, which I had really hard time with, because I really didn't feel like I did anything wrong. All along, all I wanted to do is become legal. I followed all the rules, that's what I thought. But for me to be able to come back here and not to be physically deported, because if I said I will not agree to the terms the immigration was asking me to, they will be deporting me against my will, basically. They're gonna arrest you right on court, they put you on a plane and then send you out, and you are barred for 10 years. By me swallowing my pride and saying, okay, I was guilty, they gave me voluntary departure, which one is you have 90 days to leave this country. Basically, you sell whatever you own, you try wrap up all your loose ends, and yeah, you need to buy your own plane ticket, and you leaving back to your home country.
Wow, that must have been very difficult, because you had a steady job working at the shop, right?
Yeah.
And then you also had a house, a car, and everything. So you just had to leave your life behind.
Yeah.
And so then what happened when you went to Latvia? Did you find a job there?
No. I went there, I still had an apartment. My dad was still alive. He had a lot of medical issues, but that apartment was there. I spent a few months fixing that up because it was really run down. I did go to work. I worked for a Mercedes dealership. It was a joke. It was a joke. Every day I went to work. I was there 7 a.m. I worked till like 6 p.m. There was no cars. People were not able to afford to fix the cars they bought. I guess at one point Latvia, in the last 10 years, they were really, really high in economy, and everybody bought fancy cars and this and that. And when I got back, it was kind of like a crash of the economy, basically. For the month I worked at the Mercedes dealership, I made like $300, and it cost me $200 to get there a month to pay for transportation. I didn't even have a car. I just used public transportation in a capital, in a city. Yeah, it didn't make sense for me to work for $100 and for a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, once your year was up, did you like get on a plane right away and come back?
That's the thing. I really never knew how long I'm gonna be there for.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So how'd you find out when you could come back?
It was a long process, very stressful, because I'm trying to keep this short. Because immigration, all they needed to basically do was to restart my I-130 form, which one is to become legal resident in this country through your direct relative. But immigration was screwing up. They were losing paperwork. They were just incompetent people picking up paperwork. They were looking at the paperwork was there, but they never knew what they're looking at. And every time they requested new paperwork, that put me back 25 to 30 days, because by the time I get the paperwork, it needs to be translated, it needs to be approved by the notary, and then I need to mail it to them. And end of the day, they requested so many pieces of paperwork, which one they already had in a file originally. They just kept requesting it because people just did not know what they're looking at. That ended up being almost 14 months, almost out of country,
Okay.
out of the United States. Yeah.
So then, once they got all your paperwork together, then you were allowed to re-enter the United States?
Yeah. I still needed to go to embassy in Latvia. United States has an embassy, and I need to go talk to ambassador, which one was actually a really nice lady. I can't remember her name. I'm bad with names. And she looked at my case, which one was really complicated because of the deportation, because of the voluntary departure, all that. She basically how that was. I was thinking when I'm gonna go there. Usually you have that interview. If they keep your passport, that means you got visa. You're gonna get your green card. You are all set. She gave my passport back. She goes like, okay, you're not getting visa, and that's it. And I walked out like pretty much in a shock, because from the previous dealings with the lawyers, I knew they are incompetent, a lot of them, and this last one, which one was amazing actually. That's why I'm here. I thought maybe Chris made a mistake too, and that's why I didn't get visa. But end of the day, I got home. It took me forever to get home too, because the embassy is like it's in a capital, but it's like really, really far away out on the side where I live. It took me like 2.5 hours to get back to my apartment. That's when the phone rang, and ambassador actually, she said, you got visa, you just need to bring your passport back to us again.
Oh no!
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was happy. I didn't care. I need to spend another 2.5 hours on the road. I was like, whatever.
So then you just bought your plane ticket and came
Yeah,
back?
3 days later I was out of there.
So that visa said you could permanently stay in the United States?
That visa it allowed me to re-enter the country. And that visa was granting me a green card, which one actually arrived later on. In a couple of weeks it arrived in the mail.
Okay.
Yeah, and the green card is for 10 years. But you can renew it. After 10 years, all I need to do is renew it
Okay.
online. Or what else that granted to me is after 5 years from the day I re-entered the country, I can become a citizen of the United States.
Okay. So how many years has it been since you've been back from Latvia?
4.
So next year you're going to apply to be a citizen?
I hope so. We'll see how this whole new presidency is working out here and stuff, but yeah.
Okay. And so then When you came back from Latvia, were you able to, did you have to get a new house? Did you have to start all over again?
Actually,
Finding
no.
a
I had
job?
a very good friend, Brian Wall, who helped me with saving my house. That was awesome. I got my job back. It was tough at first, all the bills and stuff and bankruptcy and a whole bunch of stuff, but end of the day, not complaining. I'm here and happy.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so then, also in the beginning of the interview, you said is your fiance an American or is she from
No,
somewhere
she
else?
has a green card and she's from Bulgaria.
Okay, and
Yeah.
how did she obtain her green card?
She applied for green card lottery. Every country in Europe can do that. Every person in Europe can actually do that once a year. And she won a lottery. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we'll end on that bombshell.
Very good.
The foregoing interview demonstrates how our immigration system has become so complex that even the experts can't get it right sometimes, which is a problem that must be addressed. Immigration reform is one of the topics on the top of everyone in Washington's list. However, it should not be immigration reform that these congressmen are trying to achieve, but simplification. The system has become an unnavigable labyrinth, lending itself to many gray areas in the admittance process that almost every foreigner thinks they have a chance of living in the U.S. legally, when in reality they don't. Our immigration system must be reformed in a way that is clear and to the point. Either there is a chance of admittance or there is not. And if there is a chance of admittance, these immigrants must be able to trust the people who hold their future in their hands and not be afraid of a broken system in which even the experts are unsure of what they are doing.